Good morning, YouTube. That's my goal right now, is to not say in this video. So anyway, I'm gonna try to work on that. But today's bullet point topic or subject is being double-minded. The old proverb says a double-minded mind is unstable in all of his ways, and I think that's the most powerful proverb in my life personally. And I ask, what causes double-mindedness? What in my life, what has caused it? Has it been the academic school system? Has it been maybe parents' lofty expectations? Has it been pop culture? Has it been our icons, our heroes, whatever we call them? Could it even be religion, and man's presentation of it? I believe all those things have partaken and have an effect on it. No, don't say Anyway, that is the problem. Is that and the result of that has caused indecision, analysis paralysis, just overthinking something to the point where you actually just become counterproductive. We all know this one way or another, but what is the solution? How do I speak to this? I've just gotten back into praying and reading my Bible, but that may not be everyone's approach. I mean, I'm a prodigal idiot. I oftentimes have messed up, walked away, went into the wickedness of this world, and nearly destroyed myself and said, never again, Lord, please get me out of this. You know how that is. But realistically, I like to make content. I'm trying to make content that is applicable in the secular world or in any other situation. But one thing that has helped me, it's helping me, I'm not perfect, is you have to have a solid foundation, a point of reference, something you believe in. The old saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That is very true. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. And so, one thing, we're looking at these YouTube videos, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and we're seeing what people are capturing in a moment, and whatever emotions that they're projecting from, that's almost like a matrix. But we don't actually know what's going on. We don't know that maybe the person on the camera is actually like in a bad mood and their significant other has like forced them to do. We don't know what they're projecting, but we always put these lofty expectations, like I do, where I should be there, not understanding maybe the benefits, the opportunity other people had. And the opportunity may come from just simply having encouraging parents. Simply, there's many different forms of support, and I do believe it's the foundation. What I'm talking about from childhood, it starts there. Some of us didn't have that, and so we've had to learn, like myself, the hard way, and try to build that foundation. Me doing it myself, I've ended up homeless. I've ended up going through delirium tremens from alcohol. My own wisdom has led me to perdition many times, and that's what I'm talking about, the foundation. Not saying that one cannot seek that power within themselves. I'm all about that, but the solution is simple. Everything complicates things. Let me write the step plan. Here's the hack. If you don't have a point of reference, a solid foundation, what are you going to refer to? Everything's changing in this world. Everything, what good is evil and evil is good. Everything that's right is wrong and wrong is right. Everything is always subjective and changing. So how do you have a point of reference in that situation? And you're double minded. Like where do you gain your moral compass? These are questions I think people are asking one way or the other. Again, I like doing these videos the first time. They may be a little ranty or a little off topic. That's just my neurodivergent ADHD mind. I'm going to work with what I got. I'm not going to try. This is a subject that I've worked my whole life and towards, and consuming all this content, like self-help and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it is bad. It's not bad in itself. but it is convoluted and it could cause, I'll call it spiritual cognitive dissonance in its a subtle way, you know. It gives you a feeling of control while you're reading it. Like, yeah, I got this. I can, I can do this. And we don't understand like that hustle culture. Someone's saying like, oh, get up at this time or do this. You work harder. And sometimes, it's being exposed in these fitness like influencers, particularly these life coaches. They had, some of them, not all of them, some of them worked. They had an advantage. They had a business opportunity. They had a loan. They had support. The guy that's all raw ripped, he's not telling you that he's taking steroids and TRT. You can find anything out on the internet and learn it yourself. You don't need anyone else to help you. Help and accountability is good, and I'm not talking against that. But at the same time, over consuming is causing this division in our mind, and straight up, it's causing cognitive dissonance. And we have this confliction going on all the time. It just, again, I'm a hammer onto the point over and over again, is foundations, people. You got to have a point of reference, a solid foundation, a standard. Any company that thrives and continues to thrive has to have a standard and foundations and their ethics. And if you say me, let's say I'm reading the Bible, right? And I believe this to be true. That's my foundation. That's always going to be a point of reference for me. It's a solid object. It's a systematic approach to a better life, dare I say. Even in the Bible, the Pharisees, they didn't believe in God or the afterlife, but they did believe that the lessons in the Bible were solid and it helped them prosper and live a good life, and they obeyed the laws at the time, which was the Old Testament. So the whole point of that with them is there has to be a foundation, because if you're just going to and fro, or as authors say, drifting, and I've done that 40 years of my life, still do in a lot of senses, you're just going to keep doing that. You're not going to change. I've been so incompetent in the decisions I've made. I've hindered lots of growth and absolutely sabotaged so much opportunities because of my insurity. A big tip to that too is escapism, like these distractions, music, even like seemingly good podcasts, TV, YouTube, everything in temperance, everything, friends, going out to bar or shows or whatever. Not saying any of these things are bad, but honestly, you don't realize the power of suggestibility, and we don't understand how our delta and alpha brain patterns work, and we don't even realize even what we're listening to, the music like that. Like, we think, oh, that's cool, this has an emotion to it, but they're saying stuff, and our brains are genuinely comprehending it. Unless it's some like death metal, then maybe not, but these people are projecting whatever emotions were going on in their life at the time, and a lot of it is negative. A lot of it is, they had the leisure of doing that because they were making a lot of money, and they put themselves through self-adversity, as we all have. And so guard your mind, you know what I mean? Like it says in whatever things are just, be anxious for nothing, but with everything, with prayer and supplications, whatever things are just, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report. Meditate on these things. Okay, so if anything you're doing anything you're consuming isn't aligning with that, it's probably not best for you in your growth, in your journey in life. And life is just a journey and learning. I read 100 and something books last year, and you know what I got from it? Just more organized confusion in my head, I think that it will render something like, maybe that's the whole point of it, was to learn that, there's different views in life, and that's okay. It's good to be open to different views, but at the same time, like, as long as you have a reference to compare those two, and Doesn't mean you dismiss it if they don't align, but you're able to kind of gather everything. Everyone has talent and wisdom. Everyone has a story. And they also, everything from your childhood to what you consumed, everything affects how you interpret and how you view things. That's just the hard truth. It doesn't, there's no ifs, ands, or buts around that. No one can argue that. Like I could do a 3-hour video on the scientific data and research. I've worked in the clinical field. I've worked in corrections. I've worked in crisis centers. I've worked in psych hospitals. I've worked in juvenile detention units. I've worked with sex trafficked children. This is all practically the same condition, and it affects everything that we take in. That's my whole point of this: is brothers, sisters, brothers, people. Mind what you're taking in. You know, there's nothing wrong with escapism, but understand, if you don't have a point of reference, you know, a foundation, then it's just going into your mind, and it's like a sponge. You know, it's like you drop it wherever, it's going to pick up all the bacteria and everything that's there. That's how our minds are. We think we're powerful. We don't realize our brain and the subconscious doesn't understand on watching Nightmare on Elm Street that is fake. It actually engraves into us, and we don't realize that. And all that stuff, all that clutter in our head, it has prevented me from hearing the true voice of God, of the universe, whatever your thing is. So please guard your mind. And the simple solution, again, is it's not going to be hard. I'm telling you the cause and effect. Here comes a dog. He's telling me it's time to end the video. Guard your minds, brothers. Watch what you take in. God bless.